Alright, I am back for my very first check-in video. If you're here, thank you. This is going to be a check-in as well as a breakdown video of what my meal plan consists of. Firstly, I have some good news and some bad news, so I'll start with the bad news. The other video I said that I had weighed 241 pounds. That was a few days prior to me recording that video. And a drinking session, some uncalculated eating occurred, and I weighed myself this morning and I'm at approximately 243 pounds. So that's going to be our starting point. I plan on doing what's called weigh-in Wednesdays, or that's what I'm going to tag it as, and I will weigh myself in the morning and report back. I also plan on implementing some light weightlifting into my routine, and I plan on doing that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I've been putting that off for a while because at work we had a massive shipment of phones that were supposed to come in and never came in. And the last time it worked out prior to moving those phones, it really messed up my arm pretty bad for a while there, so I was being too cautious about it, and I just got to get started again. So, that was the bad news, that I weigh 243. But the good news is I followed my meal plan to a T today. And as we were talking about last time, but not in too much detail, my meal plan, it consists mainly of types of foods and not necessarily a calorie counting system. Everything does even out to be approximately 1,400 calories. The different categories are lean proteins, fruits, dairies, fats, vegetables, and grains / starches. The lean proteins is specified as lean, so if you're doing something like a salami or gabagool or whatever else that might be a little bit of fatty, tends to be higher in calorie than a leaner protein like tuna or turkey or something like that. So that's why they kind of define that. A couple of examples are going to be turkey, chicken, ham, other things like peanut butter, yogurt, some nuts, eggs. All those classify themselves as proteins in this guide, at least. Fruits are self-explanatory. They have some serving size recommendations. They say 1 cup of berries of any kind is a serving, and the serving is approximately 60 calories. Dairy is 100 calories of cheese, milk, whatever. Fats is probably the most difficult one, I would say, to work into the diet. That's going to be butter, olive oil, peanut oil, mayonnaise, all that kind of stuff. 40 calories is a serving that they call in this guide. And then 25 calories of vegetables. Veggies are pretty wide variety of options there. So, and then lastly is the starches, which is 80 calories of starches. So that usually ends up me being looking at a snack food, calculating out 80 calories worth of a serving, and considering that to be one. So, getting into what I ate today, I had for breakfast. Breakfast is required 2 lean protein, 1 starch, 1 fruit, and 1 fat. My parents had made some bacon and left me 2 strips, so that was my 2 protein, not necessarily lean, but those are my protein. My starch was a slice of rye bread. My fruit was a cup of blueberries, and the fat was some butter on that toasted piece of rye bread. And they recommend eating every 2 to 3 hours, so my breakfast was at 10 in the morning. Then my snack was at 12, which was the mid-morning snack is 1 dairy and 1 fruit. And for me, that was a cheese stick and a clementine. Then my lunch, which was at 3 o'clock, lunch consists of 2 ounces of lean protein, 1 starch, 1 fruit, 2 vegetables, and 1 fat. So in this case, I did a lettuce wrap The lettuce was more than one serving for sure, but that's not a big deal if you go over on vegetables. Probably the best one to go over on. But I did a lettuce wrap, and I did 2 ounces of turkey, some regular deli turkey. Then I did, for my starch, 2 tablespoons of hummus, which is in fact 1 serving, which is quite a fair amount of hummus. Um, for 1 fruit, I had some berries on the side. Um, then for 2 vegetables, for one, it was the lettuce. Then I also added some onions, some spinach, as well as some slices of tomatoes. Not too much, not a huge tomato guy. And then for 1 fat, I decided to, from the list, I found that there was mayo on there, so I put some of that on there. I did, however, put in 1 tablespoon, and the information here is incorrect. It says 1 tablespoon of mayo is a serving, but it's actually supposed to be 1 teaspoon. Not a lot of mayo, but that's completely understandable, I would say. Then my mid-afternoon snack came at about 5 o'clock, and it's 1 ounce of protein and 1 starch. In that case, I did a packet of tuna. It's really, really convenient go-to snack for me. Wasn't sure if I'd like tuna for the longest time until just decided to get a pack and try it out after the nutritionist in the program recommended a few different snack items when I was curious about what they recommended. And then for the 1 starch, I found some Bugles in the pantry and decided to just measure out the 80 calories worth in a serving. And it literally came out to be about a handful of Bugles, which is disappointing for the snackaholic that I've been for a very long time, but completely understandable considering the density of calories in such snacks. And then lastly was supper, as they label it here, which is 3 ounces of protein, 1 starch, 2 vegetables, 1 dairy, and 1 fat. And we were kind of running low on the lunch meat, so I decided to do a protein shake, which 1 scoop of the protein powder from the stuff that I use is 140 calories, which equals out to 2 portions of the protein. And then I just do 8 ounces of water, some ice cubes, and do a quick blend of that. Leave it there for a bit so the foam dies down. Not a big fan of a super foamy shake, but then for the other ounce, I did 1 ounce of turkey, and I made a sandwich on a cut-in-half piece of rye bread for my 1 starch. I had a carrot for one of my vegetables, which takes forever to eat if you're eating just a raw carrot. Felt like I was sitting there for 15 minutes just munching on that. And then I had some lettuce on the sandwich itself. The 1 fat, I put down a teaspoon of butter, as it's listed as a serving size for. And then for the dairy, I did 1 ounce of cheese on the sandwich. So that encapsulates my daily intake of food. And I said in the last video I would like to try and get cardio in every day, and today I did get my cardio in. As you can see here, my television's there, and just behind it is, or rather just over this way, is a elliptical stationary bike. Not elliptical, just a regular recumbent, that's the word, stationary bike that I just sit and play random stuff on Netflix and watch, and just continue to bike away. Watch an episode of Gotham, so I've got about 45 minutes of cardio in there. But I would say it's a good start so far. If you're here watching still, thanks for watching, and I will check in many more times in the future.